So with this message, we're gonna now go to our main topic of the night. Um, it's right here. Blessed are the poor in spirit. So welcome everybody. Mario, the word is with you.
Good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here with everybody. It's just, it is just amazing how we have the opportunity to talk about life. And the main thing here in our studies is just like, we want to bring awareness of our spirituality. And as Matthew read here, the mediumship is a one vessel, is one way to describe a spiritist. But we know that the mediumship is us changing the attitude, changing the behavior to awake ourselves to a different frequency, a different level of spirituality. I want everybody else to give a little attention to this word over here tonight. And blessed are the poor in spirit. The one word here comes out from this passage on the gospel is poor. Blessed are the poor. Why that? Why, sounds so weird. So, I have to be poor. And then, it's kind of an opposite. But I'm going to explore something for us to get there. So, Matthew, I am a realtor. Okay. Before a realtor, I used to work for the insurance agency or industry. I need credentials for me to practice my my professionalism. I have to get I had to be licensed. So I was licensed in a lot of states. For me to practice real estate, I have to become a licensed real estate. I have to study, I have to practice, I have to put the hours. So in your field, you're not, you don't have the credentials, but in your field, the more credentials you have, better off, correct?
Yep.
So why I'm asking you this, Matthew? Why I'm asking you to what credentials you have or do I have? Like example, for example, a lawyer, for them to practice law, they have to pass on the bar. In Brazil, the OAB there, the Association of Lawyers. Right. So the reason we are saying this here is just because, Jesus on this passage mentioned to us that the poor of the spirit. But he says, blessed are in the poor in spirit. So there is something within us. He is trying to call the attention here. So when we open the gospel here, when we open the gospel, so so when we open the gospel here, this belief has made fun of the maximum. Blessed are the poor of the spirit. Just as in many other things without understanding them. By poor in spirit, Jesus does not mean person devoid of intelligence, but the humble. They said the kingdom of heaven is for them and not for the proud. So that tells me something here. What Jesus is saying over here is trying to establish what poor he's talking about here. And they're like, no, because as we read here before, all of us, no matter what, we value more the material stuff. And they're like, no, because of this mindset or the frequency where we establish here, we don't understand, like we don't value the treasures of the spirit or like the virtues of the spirit. Okay, so like here, so when we are talking about the spirits here, so he says like so that he said that the kingdom belongs to the poor of the spirit. But he says like Nate says, and in the simplicity of our hearts, in the humble, um, so like this simple heart in humbleness is a requirement for you to enter. You see, so like for you to enter this for the heaven of Christ, he everything is like it's not realistic the way he says, because the kingdom of God is in our minds, and that's a way of life, right? So like when he's talking about like for us to get into the kingdom of heaven, like the blessed to be there, we have to be humble and simple, which we are not. None of these things over here. But is the credentials. So that's when I ask, what credentials do you have to work? What credentials do we have to practice our normal little things over here? So being simple and humble is the credential for you to be blessed. Yeah. So because we have none of these two here, that's we are poor. And then we are not poor because we are poor in material things. We are poor in ways of seeing the light, ways of gratitude, ways of the worship of God. We don't know how to do these things. And that's what he's talking about, being blessed here in our poor. Because when you recognize, the point is we think so because we are so full of pride and selfishness things. We think so we control everything. But for you to be able to be blessed, you have to drop. You have to accept that we are arrogant people. And it's not a simple process of develop our way to the light. When you say poor here, doesn't mean we are poor, but we have to accept that spiritually we had a lot to go. We are children's in spirituality.
Baby steps.
We are baby steps. So when he's talking about blessed are the poor, it's just the people who accept that, my God, I do need to work on my spirituality. He's not talking about I am poor. No. He's talking about when you reach to that point in life that you accept that you need help. You accept to be unbalanced. We let the our greed and our pride talk out loud more than anything else. So when we are talking about this over here, so blessed, you have to be simple and humble to get all the blessings from God.
Go ahead.
So it's just simple steps over here on this simple phrase over here. So for us to be blessed is credentials. If we are not simple and humble, we're not gonna connect to God. We're not going to connect to a nice frequency. We're not going to connect to a higher frequency. Simple like this. So because we have, and the point is for us to be granted, for us to be granted the blessing. This is the path here. Without these two simple things over here, and then until we accept that we are poor with these things over here, it's not gonna happen. Correct, Marcio? It's not because, he says, blessed are the poor in the spirit. No, he's just giving us a simple path. How a simple and humble is the credentials for us to be granted the blessing to the heaven of Christ, which is inside of our mind, in our hearts. Doesn't have to go far. And then we practice more. So we practice more. We behave with fear. We behave with fear, guilt. What else, Matthew? Selfishness, pride.
Yeah.
Yes. So all of these things, that's why we are poor, because we are far away from being humble. Just for example, we, when sometimes things happen to our life and then we are just hurt. That's when we really pray to God, and then you feel connected because you drop it. You just connect to God. That because the way you simple that moment when you pray to God to a humble heart with a a very simple way, doesn't have to be in a very different beautiful format. Very simple and humble. That's what we have to do. And most of the time, we come over here, but we pretend the loud voice as I'm talking right now, God gonna hear. No, He wants us to be simple and humble as kids, for us to be blessed. This is a very simple chapter. Blessed are the poor in the spirit. Here he said, blessed is the first part of this thing over here. For us to be blessed, we have to be simple and humble. But this is granted. We have to be qualified for that, and you have to work hard. The same way as you work hard when you have to go to the bar as a lawyer, when you have to get the insurance license, when you have to have the real estate license, or when you're a financial institution, you have to be pass on series 6, 5, 3, a lot. It's a lot to be granted. So you granted when you achieve a certain level of understanding and intellectual. So, but for you to be blessed here, this is the credential for you to be granted to the heaven. Until but then on this path over here, for you to be simple and humble, you have to understand this has been accepted. I am Mario. I'm poor. Man, I need to work so hard. I have to work so in my behavior, because all of us is just we have tons of unbalanced feelings. We don't understand what's virtuals. We operate on on like I said, basically fear, now guilt, jealousy. Anything happens, we, oh my God, and we hurt people all the time because the way we speak, because we don't talk with the simple and humility phrases. We talk with pride, and we want to hurt people because we are hurt. So this little thing over here, this is so beautiful. And I believe me, half of this I learned here on this little house here. Because it's for you to be understanding what's poor, not because you're poor. You have to accept that your state of mind. If we accept that we are not spiritual in a different level, if we have to accept that we are not a on a level of Chico Xavier, or not even that, man. We are so weak. We are so unbalanced. We are We hardly find the ways to just get up in the morning and pray. Most of the time, we get up in the morning already complaining about stuff. Not gonna be granted.
It's like if you are like a child with no knowledge at all, and then you have the presumption that you know more than the teacher.
Yes,
And
yeah.
then that's the way we live. We have a God, we have the benefactors of the humanity, but sometimes we want to be, we think we are more than what we are. And
Yeah.
then when, as you said, when we face the reality, and that sometimes comes just late in life, you you see that you are not what you really thought you were, and then
Yes, pretty much,
yeah.
Master. What you're saying is just like, you recognize that you have to work. The way I
Yeah.
behave over here, nothing gonna be granted. The way I behave over here is poor. That's like, we complain about everything. Nothing in our lives is going right. And we cannot, as I'm saying, that's simple. We cannot get up in the morning in prayer and just take a deep breath and say, oh, thank God for this day. We don't even, we are not grateful for this, the waking up in the morning. That's because that's been poor of gratitude. That's been poor of worship. This is poor in love. This is poor in patience. This is poor in freedom. That's what he's talking about here. He's not talking about poor about material things. No, 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 no. Because there is so many spirits. They came on this earth on in a very simple life, in very simple meanings of life, and they live life so nicely. We got gratitude. But the main thing here, we have to accept that we are poor on gratitude, patience, love, respect. We have to recognize this. We behave on fear, guilt. So that's but then we have to understand this is granted for us to be blessed here. It's not a simple task, Mas. Correct? We have to work hard. We have to work very means like Santo Agostino, Saint Augustine says like we have to be vigilant all the time, every second of our lives. Because if we're not vigilant, many things gonna stole Marcio, gonna stole the moment from us. Like sometimes you're doing good, having a good day, and then suddenly, boom, we start bombarding here. And then, and now is the third step of my presentation here. We're talking about the blessed, we talk about the poor, and we talk about the spirit. Why spirit? Because we have to recognize that our life, the majority of our life, is on the spiritual side. We have to understand that we are influenced by our mentors, by guardian angels, by whoever you call. But, and then we are connected. And then pretty much we're going to blame everything on everybody. But no, until you recognize that we have a spiritual life, that's what we are talking about here. We don't care about the material facts because, like on this room over here, anybody can buy anything. Correct, boss. If you want to buy a yacht, I bet you can find a way to buy a yacht on that beautiful house in your penthouse nowadays in Rio. Correct? But what's gonna make you happy there? What's gonna make you content there? What's gonna make you in peace there is not what you have, but who you are spiritually. Isn't that the connection? Mm-hmm. Isn't that simple? 3 steps, one phrase on the gospel. It gives us a million things to talk about it. And so, and then when you decide, when you realize that I am poor in the spirit, there's the connection here. Like, because, oh my God, blessed are the poor. No, Jesus is not asking nobody else to be poor. When we connect to the universe, with the universe, blessing comes for like whatever you open to. Because like you're not gonna receive or accept something if you're not ready. We are blessed here, Marcio. I live in this country for 35 years. I cannot complain about nothing. But the most beautiful thing is my health, is my mind, my state of mind. My what I'm more blessed than anything else nowadays is just like the the willingness. The I want to learn more. I want to be better person. That's it. I don't want. I am getting to the point now where like your energy is your energy. My energy is mine. I want to be connected with my mentors. Of course, I'm far away from being balanced with my virtues. But but my how I gonna say this? By my addictions is just becoming more balanced nowadays.
Yeah, and I guess we all that are even here and watching this, we are looking to be better, and that is the first step, right? When we make the decision and start looking that I want to look acquire more spiritual virtues, and that is you'll be receiving assistance, support, and help.
Yes, and then this assistance and support, Moasio, is from the spiritual side. The moment we open our hearts, our minds to be helped, in the book of the Spirit, they say like, if we do a small gesture, they will come and help us. And then we are poor in our passions. We are poor in our addictions. We are poor on our frequencies, low frequencies. Yes, that's what we are. And then we love to blame everybody else to everything. So like and then like blessed are the poor in the spirit. It's a very simple take. Oh my God. So let's bless all the poor people. Let's no. Some people like that like the to be prosper on the equality doesn't mean material things, because there is people living in a very humble and simple life. They are wealthy in life because they have everything. Like when you focus on material things, you never had enough. Never have enough. You don't even have friends. People who has friends is the most blessed and wealthy person. Having a person you consider as a friend is amazing thing. And so like and then like but and the other thing here is so these things over here we are poor, and then you treasure like our passion, our audition, our low frequencies that connect us every day to the material things. We want more and more, and then we are far away from God. That is crazy. Like because passion, addiction, low frequency, because operates on fear and guilt. This is connect. We are not gonna leave the earth. But as you become more simple and more humble, then you're gonna be closer to God. That's when your heart gonna be open. That's how, and then this is a process. Not gonna happen overnight. But at least we gotta start like we have to accept that. We have to recognize that's the way we live. And it's very easy to say passion about something. Addition, we love to tell people, oh, you drink too much or you smoke too much. What about jealousy? Because smoking and drinking, you can see that. But when you're jealous, when you're full of pride and selfishness, you don't see that. You even is blind you. Some people are so jealous about things in life, so full of themselves, they blind anything else. That's what we are talking about, poor. And that these things over here gonna make you more attached to the material things, to this earth. So what we are talking over here, I don't know if I'm good at the time. All right.
Sure.
So, but what we are talking about here is just for you to have an idea. How can we detach? How can we get better? How can we get blessed? How can we get understand the spiritual life? That's our main goal over here, because there is so many ways, um, so many ways for us to get take this poor out. Just like live this live this low life. That's a low life, because being poor is low life. Because when you are low life, when you're poor spiritually, you are sick all the time. You don't want to see people. You don't want to study. You just want to die. But you think so, you want to live on the material, because you think so, like the energy feeding you from all this guilt, from the fear, and from your passions and additions. That's life. It is not life. And then, like you have on the medication, you are under, like so many other things who doesn't gives you the reality of what being blessed. So you have to understand that. And one of these understanding here, discover your spiritual life, is start working with your brother. Everything happens collectively. I'm not gonna be safe as here. Oh, I'm gonna go. No, 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 no. As I help my brother, as I help my fellow co-worker, as I help my family, that's I gonna inspired on this humbleness and simplicity. Because the far I go from my passions, my addictions, from my low frequency, then closer I get to be blessed. But for me to be granted, it's just that's the thing. Like it's not gonna happen overnight. We have to work hard, man. Hard. Like I'm talking about, like gonna sweat, because like no, it's not easy. It's not easy for us to be less selfishness, for less jealous. We are jealous about everything, Marcio. Sometimes when I go to shopping center, and when you going out with your spouse, if somebody else decide to go in her car, no, I want to drive my car. Look at these simple things, but it is jealousy. Just because we are so used to do things in our way, and so, and then, like and it's always a ways to learn stuff, like and then like for us to be close to God, we have to recognize we are not here by ourselves. We have our fellow brothers. We have the spiritual side with us, our mentors or guardian angels. We are,
And the ones that who doesn't like us too.
yeah, the obsessors. But that's the thing, Matthew. But like the obsessors is just because the frequency we attract them. This my body's energy. My frequency attracts misery. My frequency so I attract not only the material and the spiritual side. The same thing. As I change my frequency for good, better things gonna come to me. Don't blame nobody else. Blame ourselves. So like we have to work on ourselves. Like blessed are the poor. We have to recognize I am poor spiritually. And then and then we have to find the ways to how can I change my pride? How can I change from this year my passions? Because even though I understand I have additions, but I can slowly move in out of that. I can convert the addition low frequencies. There's an opportunity over here for me to be happy. But I have to recognize that. I have to recognize it's not working for me to get the granted, for me to be blessed. Some people you can see people just talk, they are negative all the time. The only thing they know about life is being negative. True. And they think so they think so it's what can they do? And so and I have a homework for everybody here. I'm gonna say just this here. This is a homework. What's the homework? For you to grant it, for you to start being poor, we're gonna start with a very simple steps called four agreements. Called be impeccable with your words. When you talk with people, gentle. Don't hurt people. There is no need for that. Okay? Don't take anything personally. Most of the time, when people offend you because they are hurt for somehow, some way, we don't know. So we have to understand that's not about you. It's about them, right? So don't make assumptions. Ask questions. Like, find courage to ask questions and express what you really want. Communicate with others as clear as you can to avoid misunderstanding, sadness, or drama. Don't bring drama to the life. And then always do your best on your job, everywhere you go. Do your best. It's simple like this. And then and then bottom line here is it's time for us to spiritually awakening. That's what we want to do here. How we gonna find this path here? We invite people to come over here to the center because we love the philosophy of Kardec. There is so many good literatures, books, workshop, to and friends, people who gonna help us to wake spiritually and to instead of bless are the poor, we have to accept, we're gonna accept that, we're gonna understand that, and then we're gonna transition to a different level. So that's the invite here tonight. And there is so much many more to do. And then as we move forward to a different level, God gonna manifest on us in a very ways that is no matter how addiction, how passion, or low frequency, when you open your eyes to God, God will manifest into your life. In the beauty, on happiness, on friendship, on the desire to be a better person, to be lighter, to be in the light. Gratitude to everybody.
Mhm.
Is I love this as I get late in life. I I feel like I want to be lighter. I don't want to be called poor on the spiritual side. I want to awake myself to a better life, to appreciate everybody out there, everything what happens around me, for me to be able to see light on every one of us and to be able to help my fellow friends too. Gratitude and thank you for your attention.